Hello everyone, it's Karen here from Stampin' with Karen Spreckley. Sorry if I'm a bit croaky this week, I've had a bit of a nasty cold. Hope you're all doing really well and better than me, hopefully. Thank you for joining me today on my YouTube and blog for another Monday video. Today I thought I would introduce those of you that don't know it to the Stamparatus by Stampin' Up. It's a stamp positioning tool, and also show you how you can make some really interesting cards using a technique called wreath stamping, and I'll also show you how to make your own template for that. You can buy sort of stencil templates for this. I've seen a few out there from other companies, but to be honest, it's so simple to make your own. You can make it just from a piece of grid paper or just any old piece of paper really, or even a piece of acetate. So I'll show you how to make that today. Now, as usual, all the products that I'm using today can be purchased from Stampin' Up through me. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. If you look in the description bar below, you'll see links to all of the actual products that I've used today, plus links to my online shop and various bits of social media and things. So it'd be lovely to catch you wherever is your favoured platform. So let's get on with making a card today and showing you some techniques. So the wreath stamping technique allows us to perfectly place images in this sort of circular pattern, which I think works out really lovely. So I've used the tree there from Perfectly Plaid. That's in rich raspberry with a little bit of copper foil there. On this one I've used a sentiment from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, and I've stamped that in a couple of different colours all the way round and added some little presents there. I think that's from #Elfie stamp set. And then on this one I've used the Snowman Season. I used the wreath stamping technique to stamp all the hats, and then I added a snowman on a brad, and so he spins around, so that's quite a fun card, especially for children. Okay, so over to the Stamparatus. So this is a stamp positioning tool, and there are several types out there, and apologies for the glare. I'll just take the plates off for a moment so it's not glaring too much. And I do own one from another company that I had long before I became a Stampin' Up demonstrator, but I have to say this one blows it out the park for quite a few different reasons. Now, a stamp positioning tool allows you to repeat a stamp. So if you get a bit of a rubbish image, you can stamp again because you've got your stamp in exactly the same place. It's also really good for people who have got maybe strength issues or mobility issues in their fingers, because this can really help them get a nice even image, and they don't need to worry about maybe their hands shaking or wobbling, because this will give them a nice crisp image every time. It also allows you to do some fun things with different colouring techniques and all sorts of bits and pieces. So maybe I'll be introducing the Stamparatus a bit more in some of my other videos. The Stamparatus comes as this base plate, which is magnetic, and it also comes with 2 bar magnets. Now, I would recommend the very first time that you get your Stamparatus out of the box, wrap them up in something strong. I think I've used duct tape here, because they're such strong magnets. If they get near to each other, they are likely to shatter. So this board area is actually magnetised, and it comes with a grid on it, and it's wipeable, so that's really handy. It comes with a booklet telling you how to use it, and I tend to put my booklet under there. Just gives me a little bit of extra cushioning. It comes with a foam mat that you would use for photopolymer stamps. If you're using a red rubber stamp, you just stamp basically on here. If you're using photopolymer, pop that in. And it also comes with 2 sets of clear plates, so that's basically 4 stamping surfaces, and I've got areas to attach my plates here and here, but I've got a big open space here. Now, having a big open space here means that if I want to, I could actually stamp on a much bigger piece of paper, because I can tuck it right up into the corner there. So how this works then is the plates slot on like this, and you place your stamp on there, you ink it up, and then you move it over and you stamp with it. So if you didn't get a very good image, your paper hasn't moved. So let's say if we tuck our piece of paper right up in the corner, and I'll just grab a stamp. I've got a nice leaf image here from the Colourful Seasons stamp set. So this is in the annual catalogue, been around a couple of years now, but don't forget it at this time of year, because it's got some awesome leaf images if you want to make some autumnal cards, and some really lovely snowflakes as well, and dies to go with it. So that's the stamps that I'm going to use today. So let's say I've got this leaf image here. and I place that where I want to place it on my card. I put the plate over and I pick up the stamp. Now, as long as I keep that cardstock tucked right in the corner, I could then go in and ink this, maybe with several different colours. So, or I could even use my pens to colour it. So I could colour it, I could ink part of it, stamp it, go back in, ink with another colour, go back in and stamp it. And as you can see, it's going back in exactly the same place every time. So as I said, for anybody perhaps with dexterity issues or some mobility problems, this is an absolute must-have. But I think it's a really great addition to any crafter's stash, to be perfectly honest with you. Right, so today I'm actually going to do the wreath stamping technique, and to do that we need a template. Now what I've done is I've created a template with the Stampin' Artist grid paper. So this comes in a pack. You get loads of sheets, I don't know how many, maybe 50 or something like that. So that comes in a pack, and it's something you can buy as an accessory for your Stampin' Artist. And you can see here that I've created this grid. Now what this grid means is that I can take a piece of cardstock of a specified size, and if I now just move my stamp a little bit, I can stamp it there. I could then move my cardstock around, stamp it in a different place, etc, etc. Now I'm hoping this will all make a bit more sense to you when I've actually talked you through the process and actually come up with the template for you. So let's create the template. So I've decided to go for a piece of cardstock that is 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres. So I'm going to create a 10 centimetre template. So I'm going to write that in the corner first of all. Now obviously these could be laminated actually, and then you could keep them for a long time. So what I'm going to do is I want to basically place my cardstock right in the middle of my grid paper. Now this grid paper is 18 centimetres by 18 centimetres. So first of all I'm going to draw a pencil line at the 9 centimetre mark, going in both directions, horizontally and vertically. And because this has got all the grid lines on for you, it makes it so simple. Okay, so I've now worked out our centre point. I now need to work out our centre point diagonally. So again, this is super easy because of all the grid lines. So I'm going from one corner to the other, and I'm going straight through the middle of my grid paper. So again, another pencil line there. Do exactly the same in the other corner. So there we go, corner to corner. Okay, so this has now given us our basis to create our template. So I'm now going to get my piece of cardstock that is 10 centimetres squared, and I'm just going to eyeball it onto my grid here so that I can see that it's basically in the centre. So I know I'm going to need to draw lines along there, along there, along there, and along there. Okay. So going point to point, unfortunately that one hides in the Stampin' Up logo, but I think, oh excuse me, voice going a bit, I think we can survive. And we go round here, and we go round here. So I'm basically now doing 10 centimetres all the way round. So I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines out from the centre in every direction. So now that would give us a template that would allow us to stamp 4 times, but I now need to get those star points in because I need to ensure that I want to be able to go 8 times around this. So what I need to do is I need to go 2 squares up on the centre line on each side. So we've got our centre lines drawn in, makes it nice and easy for us. And then I go across and join up all of those. Now this probably looks a bit confusing at the moment because there's loads and loads and loads of pencil lines on here, but bear with me. And obviously because I've done this as a video for you, you can pause it at any time and you can rewind it and go backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Okay, so I've now got basically 2 squares that are overlapped on top of each other. and it's given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. I'm now going to go in with my Sharpie pen to highlight all of those areas to make life a little bit easier when we're stamping. So I need to go from the edge to the edge, and then if I go here and here, hopefully you'll see where I'm starting to go with this, and then I can go a little bit quicker. So I'm picking up now the outside edge of both of those squares. So I'm just going to go around now, and I'm just going to highlight with my red pen all of these outside edges, and I'm just going round this way because it makes the process just ever so slightly quicker. And obviously if you've got your pack of Stamparatus grid paper anyway, if you do happen to go wrong, it's not the end of the world. You can just get another piece and have another go. Okay, and now I'm going round, joining up the rest of these pieces. So it's really just about picking up that outside line, and that's what's going to create the template for us. And there's my last line there. So now I've got my red outline template, which is going to work perfectly for a 10 centimetre squared piece of cardstock. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I'm actually going to create a little card. I'm going to use the Colourful Seasons stamp set, but I think I'm actually going to use a snowflake, and there's quite a pretty snowflake there, and I think that's going to work quite nicely for us. So there's a couple of different snowflakes, and there's some various different sentiments, but I'm all about Christmas at the moment, so I'm going to be making me some Christmas cards. Now, in order to make sure that your stamp is going to fit all the way round when you've turned this card in every direction, start with it square on rather than diamond on, and place your stamp wherever you want it. So you can see you've got that middle line there, which really helps you to line up your stamp and everything. So I've got my paper there. Now if you want to, you can stick that down with a magnet, but I'm going to just wing it. Let's see how this works out. Now I'm going to use Coastal Cabana ink, and I'm just going to pop my stamp case under there because it brings this up nicely for inking purposes. So I'm just going to go over there, stamp my snowflake. Another lovely thing about Stamparatus is all these bits and pieces of ink around here. They don't matter. You don't need to worry about them because they will not stamp down onto your project. And there we go. So we've got a slight overlapping of the snowflakes, but I think these will work out really nice. So I'm now just going around and I'm putting my card in each of the various different corners. So again, I move it around another, well, it's an eighth of a turn, isn't it? Not a quarter turn, because we've got 8 different points to get through. There we go. And then down to another one and turn it around again. So you can see you can make some really lovely geometric designs quite easily. Yes, you can do this very carefully with a block, but this means that you get precision, and I like precision. If something's supposed to be just so, then I need it to be just so. Just one of my little things. See, round and round we go, and as you can see, I've got loads of ink all around the Stamparatus plate, and it's not stamping down on my project at all. So there we go. That's awesome. I'm going to put that to one side out of our way. So now we've got a lovely stamped wreath made from snowflakes. So it'd be really lovely if I had a little sentiment handy. Let me have a look. Actually, I've got Snowman Season handy, so I might see if Let It Snow will fit on the inside. Oh yes, and I think it will. So just for a bit of contrast, I'm going to stamp the Let It Snow in real red right in the middle of our snowy wreath. Oh, that's really cool. I'm liking this a lot. Okay, so now to finish the card, I've got a standard real red card base here. So it's half a sheet of cardstock cut in half and folded in half. But what I'm going to do I'm going to make, so this would fit on there, and you could then maybe have some designer series paper or something down there. But I want to make a cute little note card. It ends up roughly about 4 inches by 4 inches, or 10.5 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. So I'll just trim that little piece off there. I'm also going to need an insert for this card. I'm going to trim that down to 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, which is the same size as the one at the front. And I think because this is a very plain and simple card, let's pop it up on some dimensionals. And obviously you can add lots of different decoration. I've chosen to keep it really, really simple on this particular card. But as you saw with my examples, you can add layers and things up to add a little bit of interest to it. I've just chosen, for the sort of speed of the video purposes, I'll keep it nice and straightforward today. So let's get all those little backs off. So how's everybody getting on with Christmas crafting? Has anybody started yet? So we've had Halloween. We also celebrate Guy Fawkes night in the UK, or firework night. So that's the 5th of November, but there'll be a lot of celebrations going on, or have been going on over the weekend as well. And then usually that's the time when people start thinking about Christmas, is once Halloween and bonfire night are done and dusted, then people start thinking about it. I must admit, I'm going to need to start a list soon. I need to know what to get for who and all those sorts of things. I am working a lot over Christmas this year though, so it will be a relatively low-key affair in our house this year. Okay, so there's a very quick and simple wreath design using the Stamparatus and using a homemade wreath template. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope it's taught you something that perhaps you didn't know before, and I hope you make your own template and have a go at wreath building your own cards. And obviously you can use any images you like. You need to go for something relatively small, but it can be sentiments, it can be images, it can be slightly larger images, and then they'll overlap. Looks really lovely with things like leaves and flowers as well. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks. Bye bye.